There is a terrifying moment in every man's life, if he is lucky, where he looks around the room, looks at his phone, looks at the people he calls family or mates, and realizes no one is coming. No one is going to save you. No one is going to invest in your vision. No one is going to push you when you are tired, and if you fall, no one is going to catch you. For 99% of the population, this realization is the beginning of a pathology. It is the moment they break. They feel abandoned. They feel like victims of a cruel lottery. They cry out to the universe, asking, "Why me? Why do I have to bear this cross alone?" But for the 1%, the outliers, the Machiavellians, the architects of history, this moment is not a tragedy. It is a baptism. You are watching this because you feel it. You feel the weight of an ambition that no one around you understands. You are tired of explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You are tired of waiting for permission, waiting for a grant, waiting for a partner. Stop waiting. The idea that you need support to succeed is the single greatest lie sold to you by a weak society that is terrified of the individual. History is not written by committees. It is not written by focus groups in a glass office in Shoreditch. It is written by individuals who realized that being alone was not a defect, it was a superpower. I am going to show you how to build an empire with zero support. I am going to show you why having no one is actually a strategic advantage that gives you a lethality the supported man will never possess. But be warned, we are going to perform surgery on your mindset. We have to cut out the part of you that craves validation. We have to kill the herd animal inside you. If you are scared of walking into the dark alone, turn this off. Go back to the pub. They will keep you warm. But if you are ready to become the kind of person who scares the crowd, listen closely. Let us dismantle the myth. From the moment you were born into this system, specifically the Western Anglosphere, you were conditioned to be dependent. Primary school taught you group projects, a method designed to punish the competent and carry the lazy. Religion taught you congregation. Corporate culture taught you networking. You have been brainwashed to believe that the only way to move up is to be lifted up by others. It's not what you know, it's who you know. We have all heard it. We all nod. We all agree over our lukewarm tea. And it is poison. When you rely on who you know, you are admitting that you are powerless without them. You are handing the keys of your destiny to people who act based on their self-interest, not yours. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "A wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others." When you seek support, you are seeking debt. Think about it properly. When someone helps you, you owe them. When someone invests in you, they own a piece of you. When someone supports you emotionally, they hold the power to withdraw that support, and by extension, withdraw your stability. You are looking for a safety net, but a safety net is also a spider web. It catches you, yes, but it also traps you. It prevents you from hitting the ground, but it also prevents you from flying. The reason you haven't succeeded yet is not because you lack support, it is because you are still looking for it. You are burning valuable mental energy scanning the horizon for a savior. You are diluting your vision to make it palatable for a committee. You are waiting for applause before you even finish the performance. You must accept the 0 point. The 0 point is the state of absolute isolation. It is when you look at your bank account, your contacts, and your resources and see nothing but your own reflection. Most people panic here. They retreat to the comfort of mediocrity. You will not. You will see this as the ultimate freedom. If you have zero support, you have zero masters. If no one helped you up, no one can tear you down. If you built it alone, you keep 100% of the throne. This is the cold rationality of the outlier. We do not cry about the empty room. We use the space to build. Machiavelli is often quoted saying, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Let's apply this to your loneliness. When you are looking for support, you are looking to be loved. You want people to like your idea. You want your parents to be proud. You want your mates down at the local to cheer. You are operating from a place of emotional neediness. Neediness repels power. Have you noticed? The more you beg for help, the less you get. The more you try to explain your grand vision to your small-minded friends, the more they roll their eyes. They sense your desperation, and in the laws of power, desperation smells like weakness. To succeed with zero support, you must stop trying to be loved and start commanding respect through competence. This requires a shift in your internal engine. You are no longer running on the fuel of encouragement. You are running on the fuel of defiance.
Chapter 1. The historical argument. You might be thinking, but humans are social animals. We need tribes. That is the biological argument for survival, not the strategic argument for greatness. Survival requires a tribe. Greatness requires exile. Look at the history of this very nation and the continent it detached from. The greatest leaps in human competence were not achieved in crowded rooms. They were achieved in the void. Let us speak of Isaac Newton. In 1665, the Great Plague hit London. Cambridge University sent everyone home. Newton retreated to Woolsthorpe Manor. He was entirely alone. No professors, no students, no distractions, no networking events. In that solitude, famously known as his Annus Mirabilis, Year of Wonders, he did not sit around feeling sorry for himself because he had no study group. He invented calculus. He formulated the laws of motion and optics. He did more for the human species in 18 months of isolation than most universities achieve in a century of collaboration. Why? Because solitude removes the noise of consensus. When you are in a group, you subconsciously mimic the group's thinking. You average yourself out. When you are alone, the only thing you can hear is the truth of the problem you are trying to solve. Look at Winston Churchill. Before he was the Lion of Britain, he endured what historians call the wilderness years. From 1929 to 1939, he was politically isolated. His party turned on him. The press mocked him. He was considered a washed-up, warmongering relic. He sat at Chartwell, bricking walls and painting, largely alone in his convictions about the rising threat in Germany. He had zero support. If he had sought validation from the establishment, he would have softened his stance on Hitler to fit in. He would have compromised, and if he had compromised, Europe would be speaking a different language today. His isolation was not a punishment, it was a forge. It hardened his resolve so that when the call finally came, he did not need a committee to tell him what to do. He was already sovereign. And let us look at the architect of our philosophy, Niccolò Machiavelli himself. He did not write The Prince while sitting in the court of Florence, enjoying fine wine and the praise of the Medici. He wrote it in exile. He was stripped of his position, tortured, and banished to a farm. He would put on his courtly robes in the evening, sit at his desk in a cold room, and commune with the ancients. He wrote the Manual of Power because he had been stripped of it. He saw the mechanics of the world clearly because he was no longer turning in the gears. What do these men have in common? They did not treat isolation as a waiting room. They treated it as a laboratory. The modern man, however, treats isolation as a disease. You panic when your phone doesn't buzz. You feel left out when you see a gathering on Instagram. You are suffering from the British disease of extreme politeness, the fear of offending the herd by leaving it. You must understand that the herd is designed to keep you safe, not to make you rich, and certainly not to make you free. The sheep is safe within the flock, yes, but the sheep is also sheared, and eventually the sheep is eaten. The wolf is never safe. The wolf is always cold, often hungry, and frequently alone, but the wolf is free. Which one are you? This is not a poetic metaphor. This is an economic reality. A large corporation with 1,000 employees moves slowly. They have meetings about meetings. They have HR departments. They have diversity and inclusion seminars. They have friction. You, alone in your room, can change your entire life in 1 hour because you have no one to consult. You don't need a board of directors. You need a mirror. Stop viewing your isolation as a punishment. It is a filter. It is filtering out the weak people who would have slowed you down. It is filtering out the fake allies who would have stabbed you in the back the moment you got a taste of gold.
You are alone because you are being protected from the weight of other people's mediocrity. But how do you endure it? How do you wake up every day in a grey flat in London or Manchester or wherever you are, with zero messages of encouragement, and still work like a demon? You must enter what I call the ghost phase. But before we give you the protocol for that, we must understand the biology of why this feels so painful. We must understand why your brain is screaming at you to go back to the crowd. Because if you do not understand the enemy within your own skull, you will lose.
Chapter 2. The Biology of Weakness. You are currently suffering from a chemical addiction. It is not alcohol. It is not nicotine. It is validation. Let us look at the neuroscience of loneliness. When you are excluded from a group, or when you feel isolated, your brain lights up the anterior cingulate cortex. This is precisely the same region that processes physical pain. Do you understand? To your primitive brain, social rejection is indistinguishable from a physical blow to the head. Evolutionarily, this makes sense. 10,000 years ago on the savannah, if you were exiled from the tribe, you died, you starved, or you were eaten. So nature installed a safety mechanism, a chemical leash called cortisol, the stress hormone. When you drift too far from the herd, cortisol spikes. It makes you anxious. It makes you sleep deprived. It creates a visceral sense of panic, designed to force you to run back to the safety of the cave. This mechanism kept your ancestors alive, but today it is keeping you poor. You are living in a modern world with a Stone Age brain. There are no saber-toothed tigers in London or New York. Being alone in your flat does not mean death. It means you have time to think. But your biology is screaming danger. Most men feel this cortisol spike and immediately sedate it. They open WhatsApp, they go to the pub, they scroll through TikTok to simulate human connection. They are effectively taking a painkiller to numb the symptom rather than curing the disease. The outlier, the man we are building, does the opposite. He feels the cortisol and he reframes it. He understands that this anxiety is not a signal to retreat, it is energy. It is raw, dirty, nuclear energy. You must learn to metabolize pain. When you feel that loneliness, that FOMO, fear of missing out, do not reach for your phone. Sit with it. Let it burn. That burn is your ego dying. That burn is the weakness leaving your body. There is another chemical at play here, dopamine. Society has hooked you on cheap dopamine, a like on Instagram, a laugh with a mate, a nod of approval. These are microdoses of satisfaction that keep you docile. They make you feel like you have achieved something when you have achieved nothing. To succeed alone, you must undergo a dopamine detox. You must become dopamine resistant. You need to stop working for the cheap applause of the crowd and start working for the delayed, massive gratification of empire building. You are moving from a glucose-based economy, quick sugar hits of social validation, to a nuclear-based economy, the slow, burning radiation of long-term vision. Is it painful? Yes, it is surgery without anesthetic. But once you sever that chemical leash, you become dangerous, because a man who does not need to be liked is a man who cannot be controlled. Now that we have diagnosed the pathology, let us prescribe the cure. How do you execute this? You do not just decide to be alone. You need a structure. You need a protocol. Chapter 3. The Ghost Phase Protocol. Welcome to the Ghost Phase. This is not a lifestyle choice. This is a deployment. You are deploying yourself into the wilderness to build your arsenal. The objective is simple: to disappear as a civilian and reappear as a king. To execute the ghost phase, you must abide by 3 non-negotiable laws. Law number 1, the vow of silence. The ancients understood this. The Pythagoreans imposed a 5-year vow of silence on their initiates. Why? Because talking leaks energy. Most of you fail because you talk away your ambition. You have a business idea, and immediately you run to tell your friend over a pint. "I'm going to start an agency," you say. "Oh, that sounds risky," he says. Boom, the doubt enters, the energy leaks. Worse, your brain gives you a hit of dopamine just for talking about the goal, tricking you into feeling like you've already done the work. You satisfy the tension, so you never actually take action. The ghost does not speak. You must take a vow of silence regarding your moves. Do not tell your mother, do not tell your partner, do not post "big things coming" on your Instagram story. That is amateur hour. Silence creates pressure. When you have a massive goal inside you and you clamp your mouth shut, that energy builds up in your system like steam in a boiler. It becomes physical, it becomes anxiety, it becomes restlessness. Good, you need that pressure. That pressure is what pushes you to work at 2 a.m. when the supported people are sleeping. That pressure is the only thing strong enough to break through your lethargy. Law number 2, the blackout. You must control your inputs. If you are physically alone but digitally connected, you are not isolated. You are just distracted in an empty room. During the ghost phase, you initiate a strategic blackout. You do not consume news. The news is designed to make you fearful and passive. You do not consume drama. You do not watch other people's lives. If you are watching a vlogger travel the world while you are sitting in your underwear in a dark room, you will depress yourself. You are comparing their highlight reel to your behind the scenes. Stop consuming, start creating. Unfollow everyone who does not educate you or make you money. Mute your group chats. Leave your phone in the other room. You need to bore yourself. Boredom is the breeding ground of genius. When the brain is starved of external stimulation, it begins to create its own. That is where ideas come from. That is where the strategy is born. Law number 3, the nocturnal shift. The world belongs to the mediocre between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. That is when the emails fly. That is when the phone rings. That is when the noise is at its peak. The ghost operates in the margins. You must claim the hours that no one else wants. I recommend the 4 a.m. protocol. Why 4 a.m.? Because at 4 a.m. the world is dead. No one is texting you. No one is posting. The energy of the city is flat. It is just you and the silence. There is a spiritual thickness to the air at that hour. You can think clearly. You can look at a problem and solve it without the interference of the collective consciousness. By the time the rest of the world is waking up to pour their cereal and complain about the weather, you have already completed a full day's work. You have stolen a march on the enemy while they were unconscious. This creates a psychological edge. You walk around during the day knowing you are ahead. You know something they don't. You are running a race they don't even know has started. This is the ghost phase. Silence, blackout, nocturnal discipline. But be warned, when you start this, you will face a new enemy. It is not the people outside, it is the shadow inside. When the noise stops, the demons start talking.
Chapter 4: Sublimation and the Shadow. We have talked about mindset. Now we must talk about mechanics, specifically the fuel source. When you are supported, you run on light energy, inspiration, joy, collaboration, the pat on the back. When you are alone, you must learn to run on dark energy. Carl Jung called this the shadow. Machiavelli called it the fox and the lion. Most people repress their dark side. You are taught from birth that envy, aggression, and pride are sins, so you push them down. You try to be a good person, and because you are trying so hard to be harmless, you become helpless. You cannot succeed with zero support if you are harmless. To build an empire from scratch, you need aggression. You need the ability to look at a competitor and want to crush them, not physically, but strategically. You need the pride to believe that you deserve more than the crumbs society has thrown you. You must integrate your shadow. Stop feeling guilty about your ambition. Stop feeling guilty about wanting to be rich. Stop feeling guilty about wanting to prove everyone wrong. That darkness is not evil, it is potential energy. Think of a rocket leaving the atmosphere. It does not fly because it has good intentions.
It flies because it creates a controlled, violent explosion at its base. It requires fire to escape gravity. Your shadow is that explosion. There is a psychological concept called sublimation. It is a defense mechanism where you take socially unacceptable impulses or raw emotions and transform them into productive actions. You are alone. You are likely sad. You are likely angry at the people who didn't believe in you. You are fearful. The average man numbs these feelings. He drinks. He watches pornography. He eats sugar. He does anything to sedate the pain of isolation. You will do the opposite. You will feel the pain fully, and you will channel it into the work. Pain is high-octane fuel. Have you ever noticed how much work you can get done when you are heartbroken or when you are furious? The outlier learns to tap into this energy source on command. You do not wait for a tragedy. You use the ambient pain of your solitude. I am alone. Works harder. They ignored me. Write better. I am broke. Sell more. You create a Pavlovian response where pain triggers production. This is how you become a machine. While others are paralyzed by their emotions, you are propelled by them. And let us be honest about spite. Spite is one of the most underrated motivators in human history. Michael Jordan, the greatest athlete of all time, would invent insults in his head just to summon the rage necessary to destroy his opponents. If you feel like quitting at 11 p.m., inspiration will not save you. Inspiration is fickle. It leaves when things get hard. But spite? Spite is loyal. Pride is eternal. Use them. Tell yourself, if I quit now, name of person who doubted you, wins. Tell yourself, if I stop, I prove them right. It is a dirty fuel, yes, but it burns hot. And right now, to escape the gravity of your current life, you need heat. You can switch to solar power later, once you are in orbit, but to launch, you need fire. Machiavelli wrote, God is not willing to do everything, and thus take away our free will, and that share of glory which belongs to us. He is telling you that you are expected to fight. You are expected to grab glory with your own hands. It will not be handed to you by a mentor. Do not be the nice guy who finishes last. Be the integrated man who finishes first. Be polite, be civilized, but keep the monster on a leash, ready to work.
Chapter 5. The Economics of Zero Support. Now, let us strip away the psychology and look at the cold, hard economics. Let's look at this logically, devoid of emotion. Why is zero support a competitive advantage in business? 1. Asymmetrical speed. A large organization, your competition, is an animal with 4 brains and no legs. It cannot move. To make a decision, they need a meeting, then a follow-up email, then approval from legal, then a budget review. It takes them 3 months to do what you can do in 3 hours. When you are alone, the distance between idea and execution is 0. You have a thought, you build it. It fails, you pivot immediately. You are a speedboat circling a Titanic. They are powerful, yes, but they cannot turn. You can dance circles around them. Napoleon conquered Europe, not because he had more soldiers, but because his army moved faster. He cut the baggage train. He made his men march light. You are Napoleon. Your lack of support means you have no baggage. You have no employees to manage, no investors to please, no office politics to navigate. You are aerodynamic. 2. The polymath necessity. This is the most critical point. If you have a team, you specialize. You hire a guy to do marketing, a girl to do sales, an agency to do the tech. You become a CEO, which often just means a glorified manager. But if you have zero support, you are forced to do everything. You are forced to learn copywriting. You are forced to learn video editing. You are forced to understand taxes, psychology, web design, and sales. At first, this is overwhelming, but give it 6 months. What happens? You become a full-stack sovereign. You understand the entire machine because you are the machine. A specialist is easy to replace. I can hire a copywriter on Upwork for £20 an hour.
But a generalist who built the whole castle from scratch, he is irreplaceable. He is a weapon of mass competence. When you finally do hire people later, you will not be swindled because you know their job better than they do. You built the floor they are standing on. Zero support means maximum education. It is a forced PhD in reality. 3. Total ownership. When you seek support, specifically financial support, investors, you are selling your freedom. TechCrunch and the media celebrate raising millions. They are celebrating debt. They are celebrating shackles. If you take their money, you play by their rules. You must grow at their pace. You must censor your message to protect their brand. But if you bootstrap, if you eat ramen noodles and work out of your bedroom and build it with zero support, you own 100% of the equity. You own 100% of the creative control. You own 100% of the soul of the company. Is it harder? Yes. Does it take longer? Sometimes. Is it worth it? Always. The man who is lifted to the top by a helicopter stands on the peak, but he has no leg muscles. If the wind blows, he falls. The man who climbed the mountain alone, clawing his way up the rock face, bleeding, sweating, freezing, he has legs of steel. The wind cannot move him. He is the mountain. You want to be the climber, not the passenger. So look at your empty contact list, look at your empty inbox, and say, thank you. Thank you for forcing me to become everything I needed. But the journey does not end here, because eventually, if you follow the ghost phase and harness the shadow, you will win. And that leads to the final, most dangerous test of all, the return.
Chapter 6. The Return. The Glass Wall. If you follow the path of the ghost, if you endure the isolation, master the shadow, and execute with asymmetrical speed, something strange will happen. The numbers will go up, the money will hit the account, the physique will sharpen, the confidence will radiate off you like heat. You will become, objectively, a winner. And then they will come back. The mates who were too busy to grab a coffee, the family members who asked, "When are you getting a real job?" with that condescending smirk, the ex-partners who left you for someone more stable. They will return, and they will smile, and they will say the sentence that will make your stomach turn. "I always knew we would make it. I'm so proud of us." Us. They will try to rewrite history. They will try to insert themselves into your narrative. They want to stand next to the trophy they did not help lift. They want the warmth of the fire they did not help build. This is your final test. The old you, the version of you that craved support, will want to let them back in. You will crave the validation. You will want to say, "See, they love me now." Do not do it. But also, do not explode. Do not scream at them. Do not list their betrayals. That is what a hurt child does. A king does not scream. You must handle this with Machiavellian grace. You treat them with the same polite indifference they treated you with. You become a wall of glass. They can see you, they can wave at you, but they cannot touch you. You realize that their love is conditional. It is based on your utility to them. It is based on your status. And that is fine. That is human nature. We do not cry about gravity. We just learn not to jump off cliffs. But you do not build a castle on shifting sand. You keep your circle tight. You keep the gates closed. The only people allowed in the castle are the ones who helped you carry the stones when it was raining. And since you carried them alone, the castle belongs to you alone. This is not loneliness. This is sovereignty. There is a peace in this that is hard to describe to the uninitiated. It is the peace of knowing you are fully self-reliant. You know that if the market crashes tomorrow, if you lose it all, you could build it all back again. Why? Because you are the asset, not your network, not your luck. You. Chapter 7. The Architect Level.
So where does this end? Does the outlier die alone on a pile of money? No. That is the tragedy of the miser. We are not misers, we are conquerors. Once you have succeeded with zero support, you unlock a new level of the game. You are no longer the survivor, you are the architect. You now have the resources to build the world you wanted to live in. And here is the beautiful paradox. Now that you do not need support, you can give it. You can become the person you wished you had. You can spot the young, hungry, lonely kid who is about to give up, the one sitting in his room at 4 a.m. fighting the demons. And you can be the one who says, keep going. You don't do it to get something back. You don't do it for networking. You do it because you know the pain of the empty room. You do it to honor the struggle. But you do it strategically. You do not save everyone. You are not a charity. You only invest in those who show the spark. You become the mentor, the patron, the godfather. Machiavelli said, "It is a double pleasure to deceive the deceiver." In your case, it is a double pleasure to support the unsupported, to fix the glitch in the system that left you behind. But never forget where you came from. Never forget the cold. Never forget the silence. Keep a piece of that darkness in your heart. Let it be the anchor that keeps you grounded while the world throws flowers at your feet. They clap for you now, but you know the truth. You clapped for yourself when the room was silent, and that applause is the only sound that matters.
Wait, look at me. I can feel your brain trying to reject this entire video. This is too hard, it whispers. I need people. Humans are social animals. That is your biology talking. That is the prey instinct trying to herd you back into the flock where it feels safe. Safety is an illusion. The sheep is safe until the wolf arrives. The wolf is safe because he is dangerous. The path of zero support is not for everyone. In fact, statistically, it is probably not for you. It is for the outlier. It is for the mutation. It requires you to be willing to look like a failure for a long time, so you can look like a legend forever. It requires you to suffer in the dark, so you can shine in the light. Most people will turn this video off right now and go text a friend to complain about their day. They will seek the microdose of sympathy. They will feel better for 10 minutes, and nothing will change. Their life will remain a flat line of comfortable mediocrity. But you are still here. You are analyzing. You are plotting. You are realizing that the empty chair next to you is not a vacancy. It is a throne, waiting for you to grow big enough to fill it. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only the surface. This is what I can say publicly. There are strategies of dark psychology, of economic warfare, and of elite mindset that I simply cannot discuss on the open YouTube algorithm without being censored or demonetized. The system suppresses the most powerful information because it fears the independent man. Those strategies exist behind the walls of our private community. If you are just looking for entertainment, subscribe and move on. But if you want the blueprints, if you want to step into the architect level, check the link in the description. The door is open, but you have to walk through it alone.